2011 was 15 years ago, and that was the last time the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl. Even with them making the playoffs pretty much every year since then, they still have not been able to win the Lombardi Trophy. That being said, I have a solution to the problem. The solution is going to be none other than their biggest rival quarterback, Caleb Williams, the USC product who is entering his third year in the NFL. Obviously, going to be one of the game's most prolific quarterbacks throughout his career. That being said, is he up for the challenge of getting the Green Bay Packers back to the big game and ultimately winning them a Super Bowl? Let's find out. All right, so as you can see here, Caleb Williams is in this situation going to be entering his second year in the NFL because I did start at the start of the 2025 season, which was the NFL's most recent year. So Caleb Williams, 6'1", 214, 23 years old with 1 year of experience under his belt in this fantasy scenario. Obviously played his college ball at USC with a superstar development trait. On the inverse, we have gone ahead and we have sent Jordan Love to the Chicago Bears. Now, my favorite thing about this rebuild is that Jordan Love has taken Caleb Williams' number, and Caleb Williams has taken Jordan Love's number as well. So here's a nice little shot of Jordan Love on the Chicago Bears. Obviously 6'4", 219, 26 years old, 5 years of experience, played his college ball at Utah State as well with a superstar development trait. And yeah, for the Green Bay Packers with Caleb Williams, I mean, we have a lot of really good stuff on our offensive line. We have a lot of really good stuff in our offense in general. We have a lot of really good receivers who could be something. We're 5 deep at that position. Obviously, Tucker Kraft has ascended and become one of the game's very best as well. And Luke Musgrave, very formidable backup tight end. I can't see John Fitzpatrick on here for whatever reason. But on defense, I think this is where Green Bay really made their money this past year. I think this is where they really punched above their weight. They were a very good defensive team. Unfortunately, it all kind of became unraveled due to injuries. But either way, we've got a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm just going to try to build a good team around Caleb Williams. And let's see if we can get him a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. As far as upgrading players, I'll let the CPU do that for me. No biggie. And then I'm going to sim to mid-season. Then we're going to re-sign some players and just see where we're at after we go 8 or 9 weeks into the future. All right, so it looks like we are currently 4-2 right now. Let's see how we've done this previous season so far. All right, so we won against the Lions, but lost against the Commanders and Browns. I mean, I guess they did lose to Cleveland in real life, but we beat the Cowboys, we beat the Bengals, and we beat the Cardinals as well. Down the stretch, I'm feeling pretty good. There's not a whole lot of teams where I'm just like, dang, that's going to be a really tough matchup. So we should be able to make the playoffs in Caleb Williams' first year as a Green Bay Packer. I'm also going to see who has this breakout scenario. I assume it's Josh Jacobs, but let's double check. Okay, yeah, looks like we got a breakout scenario. Fine, let's do 150 yards, and we'll see. We'll just see where we go from there. All right, Quay Walker is most likely going to hit the open market in real life, but in Madden, you're very likely to find off-ball linebackers that are as good as he is, so I'm going to re-sign him and just not tinker with that. Rasheed Walker, he's another guy who's probably going to hit the free agency market. You know, I think just what other choice do we have? I think it's the best interest of us to re-sign him. We'll see what happens with Malik Willis. We'll see what happens with Romeo Doubs. Emmanuel Wilson is also somebody I would like to bring back. Pretty much all the rest of these guys, you can go. Actually, we're going to pick up the 5th-year option on Lucas Van Ness, but either way, you know what? Let's re-sign Romeo Doubs. I like him. I think he's a really important part of this wide receiver room in real life, and I would like to reflect that in our simulation with Mr. Caleb Williams right here as well. And with Caleb Williams, we do have a skill point to use on him. So you know what? I think with these, it's important that we don't go against the grain. We're going to use the improviser trait, and I'm fine with the CPU upgrading our guys like Josh Jacobs and Zach Tom and Rashawn Gary, Edgerrin Cooper, and Nate Hobbs. I think that the CPU will do a good job with that, and I'm going to simulate to the end of this regular season. So I guess I'm not going to re-sign Malik Willis. All right, so we have ended the regular season 13-4. We somehow did not get the number 1 seed. I'm curious who got the number 1 seed in the NFC. Okay, it looks like the Rams got the number 1 seed, but either way, finished with a 13-4 record, and we're matched up against Detroit in the wild card round. Let's go over to our stats and see how Caleb Williams did the first year. 4,038 yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 7 picks, so a really strong year. First year for Caleb Williams as a member of the Green Bay Packers. 42 sacks. That is something that I would like to take off his plate going into the next season. But wow, Josh Jacobs, 292 attempts, almost 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns as well. Let's see who our best receivers were. All right, so it looks like we spread the ball around quite a bit. Romeo Doubs got 84 catches for 1,128 yards and 10 touchdowns as well. Jaden Reed, 82 receptions for 1,004 yards and 6 TDs. Christian Watson had 18 touchdowns, man. Madden, very lore accurate Christian Watson right there. Tucker Kraft was not really as involved as I would have thought. Matthew Golden, our first round pick, was also just not very involved. But either way, really happy with the first year from Caleb Williams. I think there's nowhere to go but up. All right, I'm going to hop in and we're going to see how we do against the Detroit Lions in the wild card round. Man, Lambeau Field would be absolutely rocking for a Detroit-Green Bay divisional game. All right, looks like our defense is off to a really shaky start. Looks like Detroit has a 21-0 lead. Looks like we managed to get a safety, but we are on track to getting our doors blown off in our own stadium by the Detroit Lions. Wow. So it looks like we just got to hone in on our craft this upcoming offseason because we just got absolutely stopped in our first year with Caleb Williams as a member of the Green Bay Packers, 38-16 on our home turf. Not a good start, but you know what? We can make plenty of offseason additions to making sure that this does not happen again. But the good news is that Caleb Williams had a heck of a year, so he gets 3 upgrade points. And once again, I'm just going to dump all of them into the improviser trait because I feel like that's just the best reflection of how Caleb Williams is able to perform in real life. And this is the area of his game where I think he's going to grow the most these upcoming years. Also, I never went over awards necessarily, but Caleb Williams did finish number 3 in MVP voting as well, just behind Matt Stafford, the real-life MVP, and Joe Burrow. So the Chargers have defeated the Rams 38-10 in the Super Bowl. And after year 1, we have plenty of, it looks like, practice squad players to upgrade. But I did see another skill point upgrade for Caleb Williams. So Lucas Van Ness is a very expensive 78 overall for the purposes of our simulation. But you know what? I think the Packers are definitely going to pick up his 4th-year option or 5th-year option in real life. But either way, yeah, all these other guys, you guys can walk. I know that there's probably some guys here that, I mean, should we resign? Nah. All right, I'm just not really interested in bringing any of these guys back. I think we could upgrade at our backup running back spot and find somebody better than Emmanuel Wilson. Jaquan Brisker would be very interesting. This is somebody who would add a lot. Unfortunately, I just don't know how he fits into our rebuild. Should we go in a safety? I mean, Evan Williams is pretty good, but do you think Jaquan Brisker can play the free safety across from McKinney? I don't know. Interesting to think about. You know what? We'll offer to him. I don't expect him to accept, but you never know. Also, Devin Bush had a really good year in real life this year, so we'll offer him a contract as well. And I think that's kind of... Ooh, I would like Algier, but I think we're basically out of money. Let's see if we can create some cap space. All right, Algier has not signed with another team, but we did sign Jaquan Brisker, and we did sign Devin Bush as well. Nick Cross is only 24 years old. He would have been interesting, but I just don't know how he would have fit in this defense. Oh my goodness, we can save $20 million by cutting Trayvon Diggs? Oh my goodness, get off my team. What are we doing? Oh my, now we have a lot of room to work with in free agency. Now we have a lot more wiggle room to, you know, see if we can fill out the rest of our team. Jalen Watson would be a really good signing too, because let's be honest, if there's any position where we just need to get better at just flat out and bring in just more dudes, it is the cornerback position. So yeah, let's see what Algier's thinking. Okay, Algier has signed with us, and it appears that Jalen Watson has as well. So this is our free agent haul. I see no need to go any further in our current free agency cycle. Jaquan Brisker, Devin Bush, Tyler Algier, and Jalen Watson from the Kansas City Chiefs. We have a really, really good free agency haul, so let's see if we can work something up in a trade. All right, the way this team is currently constructed, we have very minimal holes. I think if there is anything we could do, we could use a guy that's not Aaron Banks on the offensive line, especially considering his cap hit for this upcoming year is $24.9 million, but there's no teams that can really take his cap hit on. Let's see if I can get a little creative. All right, we traded Aaron Banks to the Washington Commanders for a 7th round pick. I don't think this is actually going to happen in real life because Banks is definitely better in real life than he is in this video game. That being said, shedding $24.9 million in cap space really, really helps us out. But now we have a hole at left guard. We have no active players available on the roster, so let's see if we can get a little creative. All right, so we don't have a lot of draft capital during this rebuild, but what we do have is a lot of premium talent, and I think right now with Caleb Williams, the time is to go all in. And we have traded for Peter Skoronski from the Tennessee Titans. All it cost was 2 seconds and a 3rd round pick as well. And yeah, overall, this team is really starting to come together, and I'm excited to see what happens next year. All right, we're looking good right now. I think if there's anything that we got to hope for, we just got to hope for that these guys can just continue to develop on the offensive line, including particularly Rasheed Walker, Peter Skoronski, and Jordan Morgan as well. Defense is absolutely filthy, but unfortunately, we did lose the superstar X Factor from Micah Parsons. Let's see if we can get another defensive tackle. All right, we have traded Nate Hobbs and a 2026 5th round pick to the Tennessee Titans for T'Vondre Sweat. Now, the reason we did this was because we were relatively deep at corner, but we're kind of thin at the defensive interior front. So yeah, I feel like that move made a lot of sense for where we're headed as well. All right, we are looking absolutely filthy on the defensive side of the ball. There is literally not a single hole that we have here. Maybe we can improve cornerback, but I think our room is good enough heading into the next season, so let's get that started as well. All right, feeling pretty good. We're opening up the season on Sunday night primetime. Let's see if we need to make any moves at the trade deadline for any players, and I will see you guys mid-season just to see what we have accomplished. All right, so we are 5-2 at the midseason point. Let's see how we have done so far. So we beat the Rams, we beat the Panthers, we lost to Detroit, we beat the Bears 31-10. Actually, let's take a look at the box score from that game. So it looks like against the Bears, Caleb Williams went 263 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And in this game against the Packers, Jordan Love's former team, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks as well, with 2 sacks as well, with a 48% completion percentage. That is not that good. Either way, let me check out our schedule down the stretch, and just as a reminder to see how we're going to do. All right, so we do have, it looks like we have the New Orleans Saints, we have the Patriots, so we play the AFC East quite a bit here, but we also have our divisional matchups, and you know what? We do not have a very easy schedule down the stretch, so I'm curious to see what happens. All right, so we went 12-5, and we do have a wild card game against the Dallas Cowboys. Here's how the NFC shook out. Wow, 2 teams that went 8-9 winning their divisions. Holy heaping pile of mid, Batman. Either way, Philadelphia Eagles 12-5, us 12-5, Detroit also 12-5, but I assume we had the tiebreaker over them, so that is very good for us. Caleb Williams, 3,944 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions as well. I felt like he had a better year last year, but Josh Jacobs just continues to be an absolute tank, an absolute monster for us. Yeah, then Tyler Algier, we didn't use him as much as I would have expected, giving him that contract in free agency, but he still was able to at least contribute and get a handful of touchdowns. Christian Watson and Jaden Reed, man, these guys have completely carried our receiving room, along with Romeo Doubs, who had the monster year last year. All right, these guys both have 12 touchdowns and 14 touchdowns respectively. So yeah, either way, I feel like this is a little interesting. Let's see how we did on the defensive side of the ball, because I'm curious to see what happened. All right, so we had 4 guys with 8 sacks or more. Rashawn Gary, 14.5. Devontae Wyatt, 12.5. Micah Parsons, 11.5. And Lucas Van Ness, 8 sacks as well. Picks, Keyshawn Nixon had 4 picks. Nice. But our off-ball linebacker acquisition, Devin Bush, had a pick as well. Xavier McKinney had a pick, and yeah, overall, we got a few players with a handful of, we also got a handful of players with 1 interception. One thing that has surprised me is Caleb Williams has not run as much as I thought he would, given that we have a very strong offense, and that's probably the best part of his game is his ability to just be an overall scrambler and improviser, but I would have thought that he would have had more ground ability in this simulation. Rasheed Walker was an absolute turnstile at left tackle. Oh, good Lord. Looks like, wow, our starting 5 all gave up a solid amount of sacks, but you know what? Caleb Williams does take a lot of sacks, or at least did take a lot of sacks in real life in his rookie year. Let's see how the award races shook out right here. Caleb Williams finished 8th in MVP voting. Did we have anybody in the running for any of the other awards? No, we did not. Pretty unfortunate right there. Oh well. Time to play our wildcard game against the Dallas Cowboys, or at least time to hop in and see what happens. All right, looks like Dallas has jumped out to a 7-0 lead, but we did just get it back. 14-14 right now, currently 21-14. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. It looks like our season is going to come to an end again in the wildcard round at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately. So usually it's the other way around, the Packers beating the Cowboys in the playoffs. But this time, the Dallas Cowboys just happen to get the better of us. You can see Micah Parsons absolutely disgusted on the sideline right there. All right, LaFleur, let's see what you got for me this upcoming offseason. Let's see if we can finally get over the hump with Caleb Williams. All right, if there is any silver lining, it's that Caleb Williams is about to have a super-duper high overall. And it looks like Caleb Williams is going to be an absolute monster going into our 3rd year with him on Green Bay next year. So I'm curious to see how this shakes out. I'm interested to see what happens. We're currently at 89 overall, but we are in our Super Bowl window. We have to figure out how to get better. We are obviously going to accept the 5th-year option on Caleb Williams, but That'll count really substantial amount towards our cap room. But either way, we have to extend Tucker Kraft. If we do not extend Tucker Kraft, then we are going to no doubt franchise tag him. All right, perfect. We can breathe a sigh of relief that we have re-signed Tucker Kraft. Let's see, Jaden Reed. You know what? He was very productive for us this past season, so it makes no sense to not bring him back as well. Nixon as well. You know what? He's going to be 30. I don't know, man. He got a lot of picks for us last year, but I think we need other guys to thrive in that role. Christian Watson does not want to play for us next year. Jordan Morgan, you know what? We'll pick up his 5th-year option. McDuffie, honestly, you can walk. Let's see Elton Jenkins, all right? Elton Jenkins, can we please re-sign you? Perfect. Even if that is a bit of an overpay, I'm going to go all in and just see what we can do. Devontae Wyatt is another guy that we definitely ought to try to bring back. Okay, we have basically no money to spend in free agency, and that's perfectly fine with me because it looks like this free agency class is not that good anyway. But you know what? I'm going to see if we can make some trades happen, and let's see what caliber of talent we can get and what caliber of talent that we can move off from and, you know, hopefully improve our cap situation just a little bit. All right, we have traded a 3, a 4, and a 5 this upcoming year to the Cleveland Browns for Harold Fannin. So not only do we have Tucker Kraft, but we have a very formidable player behind him. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we're going to be rocking 2 tight end rotation, whatever you want to call it, dynamic duo, I should say. We also have traded our 2028 first-round pick and our 2028 second-round pick to the Buffalo Bills for Maxwell Harrison, the rookie this past season. And yeah, overall, this team is really coming together, and I think if we can't make anything happen in year 3, then, oh man, it just won't be good. All right, so this is what our team looks like around Caleb Williams. Now, once again, we did let Dontavian Wicks walk, but there's a bunch of other guys that I think have really slotted in nicely to this team. And overall, you know, up front, we're not dominant, but in our backfield with Caleb Williams and Josh Jacobs, we have a lot of really good things going on for this upcoming year. And our defense, once again, continues to develop very well. You know what? With Maxwell Harrison now in the mix as well, we are going to be a very good team going forward. And I will see you guys at midseason. Let's see how we do. All right, we are a perfect 6-0 to start the year. Let's see how we've done thus far. All right, Caleb Williams, only 1 interception on the year. And let's see. All right, Jacobs' rushing totals have taken a little bit of a hit, but man, Romeo Doubs continues to be our best receiver. Let's see defensively how we're doing midway through the year. Micah Parsons with 8 sacks already in only 8 games. All right, perfect. Then let's just keep churning away and let's hope all goes well and that we can end this season and this video on a high note. All right, so once again, we went 12-5. I believe that's what we went last year, and looks like we got some upgrade points to spend. Hopefully a couple of them are on Caleb Williams. I guess not. Oh, we got 1. All right, he is a 99 overall, considering morale and everything. If you're curious to see, you know, his abilities right now, so he has Gambit, Pocket, Deadeye, Quick Draw, Persistent, Inside Deadeye, and Closer. Wow. So it looks like we have developed a lot of really good players on this team, and let's just see if we can finally get past the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. I think it'd be really annoying if we couldn't. But first, the stats. Wow, so Caleb Williams, 4,646 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 5 picks. Josh Jacobs, 981 yards, very efficient on the ground, almost averaging 6 yards per carry with 18 total touchdowns. Good Lord. And Romeo Doubs, man, he's just inevitable in this rebuild, I guess. So we have 3 guys that went over 1,000. We had Romeo Doubs with 1,200, Jaden Reed with 1,100, and Matthew Golden with 1,000 as well. Golden with 7 touchdowns, Reed with 4 touchdowns, and Doubs with 16 total touchdowns. Let's see how he did with awards. Looks like we still finished 3rd in MVP voting. That is very unfortunate. Micah Parsons also 17.5 sacks. Wow. Rashawn Gary with 10 as well. Looks like Rasheed Walker was an absolute turnstile on the left side of the line. We allowed 21 sacks and 18 sacks, respectively, for our left and right tackle. Not good enough, but time to play against the Dallas Cowboys, and let's just see what happens. And once again, Dallas is playing us really close to the chest, but we are starting to pull away, and we have a 21-6 lead. Let's go. We're up 28-13. That should be enough going into the 4th quarter. And finally, we have won a playoff game in this sim. Let's see who we've got next week. So we've got the Lions again, man. It looks like we're just going to be matching up against either the Lions or the Cowboys every single year. But yeah, another home playoff game at Lambeau Field. Hopefully this time turns out different from last time we played them here. All right, Detroit has jumped out to a 3-0 lead. It looks like we're really struggling to move the ball against them. Wow, it's been an absolute rock fight thus far. Detroit is up 17-7, and unfortunately, this is the best team we've ever had. So let's see if we can pull ahead, and it looks like we did. Oh, but Detroit in the last possible drive of the game is able to unfortunately go down the field. Well, that basically concludes it for the rebuild. Look at Jared Goff just rubbing it in on our home field. That hurts, man. But either way, let's actually check the final stats from Caleb Williams' final game in this simulation. 18 for 30. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, just not good enough, unfortunately, for where we needed to go. I had a lot of fun with y'all. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Share this with somebody if they like Madden videos, and I will see you guys next time. Langy signing off.